Higher Learning Network. Yeah, bye.
The Female Solution Global Radio TV Show invites you to an invigorating conversation with our team of hosts Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Time. Start your week with Monday Morning Mindfulness with Zelda Speaks. Tuesdays, Self-Cell Care with Jody Susan. Wednesdays, Repairing Broken Families with Naima Latif and co-host Kareem Hamid. Thursdays, Soulful Solutions with Dr. Debbie Green. And Fridays, Health and Wellbeing with Beata. Saturdays, tune in 12 noon to 2 p.m. Central Time. First Saturday, Success Strategies with Jana. Second Saturday, Wendy Williams Esquire on relationships. Third Saturday, Move Around with Deborah. And fourth Saturday, Wisdom with Mama D. Join us Sundays, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Central Time for Soul Purpose Healing with Beata. Call in and comment 515-605-9325. Press 1 to speak to the host and be a part of the solution.
Are you stressed out? Are you ready to learn some quick techniques on how to de-stress immediately? Then book your free 30-minute consultation with Zelda Speaks, the Mindfulness Stress Relief Coach, at higherlearningnetwork.org. Thanks for sharing.
Mindful conversation on higher learning with Zelda Speaks, your Monday morning mindfulness session on Blog Talk Radio, The Female Solution, Mondays, 7:30 until 9 a.m. Be sure and send your ideas, thoughts, comments, and suggestions. Also, if you'd like to be a guest on the show, visit zeldaspeaks.com and send us your info. We'd love to have you. Experience mindfulness moments with the Mindfulness/Stress Relief Coach, Zelda Speaks. And thanks for sharing the mindfulness moments with us today. Stay on purpose, stay empowered, and stay tuned to your next session of mindfulness on higher learning with Zelda Speaks. Make it a mindful day. And thanks for listening.
Grand Rising, and thank you so much for joining me this morning. It is Monday, November 4th. We're in November already. Hallelujah. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm your host, Zelda Speaks. Welcome to Monday Morning Mindfulness. We're just here to start your week off with the Mindfulness Stress Relief Session coming up at 7:15. So be sure and text somebody and let them know. Meditation begins in 14 minutes. Well, actually 10 minutes. How about that? Today's topic is the root of our dysfunction and what can we as a society do about it. So that's the topic of discussion today. If you're celebrating a birthday, happy birthday born day. You're celebrating, I believe it's Scorpio, the month of November, whatever it is. I don't keep up with that. But anyway, we're celebrating with you because we're just celebrating life, because every day is a birthday. After you get to a certain stage in life, every day is a holiday. Because tomorrow's not promised. Okay. If you are listening online and you would like to join the conversation after the 7:30 hour, you can call in at 515-605-9325. Press 1 to speak. And you can also watch us on our social media channels, Higher Learning TV Show, and Facebook and YouTube. HLN. You see that logo? You know you're at the right place. And if you are headed out and about this morning, you know it is always a challenge to be out and about early in the morning. I had to go out, what was it, Friday morning? And it's like, oh my God. Well, we're at the Betty Shabazz ceremony, a graduation for our podcast students. And it's on 79th and Ellis, 78th and Ellis. And traffic was horrible. I was like, wow, I do not miss this at all. It's wonderful being retired, or you can do whatever you want to do from home, because it's a hot mess outside. There's so many people. Like, where did all this traffic come from? That's what happens when you retire. You don't go out. You don't know what's out there. But baby, I know what's out there now, and I am so glad. I took my time and left out a few minutes early, and that's what you need to do too. So here's your look at traffic. You need to leave out. Because that is exactly what you will experience when you get out there. Chaos and confusion. And today's traffic is brought to you by Karen Kelly of itex.com. If you are a business owner, entrepreneur, or trying to get your side hustle on, you might consider being a member of iTex. And the bonus is if you mention my name, Zell Dull, always giving thanks to the ancestors in radio who came before me. Richard Peggy, thank you very much. You can mention my name, ZELDA, and that's the promo code, and get $100 to go shopping right away. How cool is that? But you got to use the promo code. So be sure and tell Karen Kelly that I sent you. As we took a look at the highways and byways, it is nothing nice outside today. I promise you, it is just crazy like it always is on a Monday morning. Mostly cloudy today, up to 42. Yay! Down to 33 tonight. But light snow is possible. But it's looking like a good week in Chicago. We can stand a little cold. It's the freezing temperatures that I can't do. Metra and CTA, no reported delays. Inbound on the Kennedy is your usual Monday morning mindful madness. 41 in and 28 out on the reverse. On the Edens, it's 37 in and 29 out. On the Eisenhower, your usual delays at Manheim Road, 32 in and 42 on the outbound. On the Stevenson inbound, 39 minutes in, 28 out. On the Dan Ryan, your usual delays, 35th to 95th at 21 in, 18 out. On the Bishop Ford, 11 in both direction. And DuSable Lakeshore Drive, where my big brother Patrick Bradley revised the S-curve. And so now it's DuSable Lakeshore Drive, 10 minutes in and 9 minutes on the reverse. And that's your traffic and weather, sponsored by Karen Kelly of itex.com. And if you watch TV, and most of us do, be sure and set your DVRs for Tuesdays at 6, Wednesdays at 1 on Channel 19, and 24/7 on the World Wide Web. And now it is time for your Monday morning mindfulness meditation. But before we do that, it's time for your Monday morning message from Mike House. I am so grateful to be a part of Monday morning mindfulness messages from Mike House, and you can too. All you have to do is text me at this number, and we can include you in that. And this is the number right here, 312-383-9749. And put in the subject area, text messages. No. Just put Mike House. I don't know exactly what you're talking about. Okay. So just text me at 312-383-9749, and you can get these messages as well. And this message comes from Mike House, fellow journalist. I love yesterday. I want to read that, but right now I'm going to read today. Monday, December 4th. I am quite certainty. How about that? I am quite certain. I have never heard it displayed like that. Excuse me, but I have now, so we will continue. And it says, it's so small. There you go. You sometimes have a knowing, and I want to add to that, you always have a knowing. You sometimes have a knowing that you know that you know that you know. And when you know that you feel no need to convince, cajole, prove, or justify. You trust it. You intuitively feel, sense, and give attention to that certain something within you. Your internal mannerism is composed. A quiet power oozes from your countenance. You move freely because you are in touch with that certain something within. You are not threatened by opposition or differences because you know who you are. You are secure with the presence within and certain that it is within you always. I move freely with holy boldness. I love that. I move freely with holy boldness. I am quiet certainty. I am secure with the divine power and force of the Holy Spirit within. I intuitively feel, sense, and know its presence. I trust it. Listen. Thank you, life, in me, through me, as me, around me, through the Christ within. And so it is. Now we have received not the spirit of the world, but the spirit that is within from God, that we may understand the gifts that are given to us by God. And that's from 1 Corinthians 2 and 12. And that's your Monday morning mindfulness meditation message from Mike House. And remember, you can text me if you want to be on the list. You can text me at that number. Well, it is 7:12, and it is time for your Monday morning mindfulness meditation. And as we prepare for that meditation, we remind ourselves that we are worthy of mindfulness meditation because we know the value of what we bring to this experience called life, this earth school. And in this overstanding, we take the time first thing in the morning, not jumping up, running out the door. Spend some time with self. And we do that, because we value the vessel that we walk in. So we want to protect that vessel because we know the moment we walk out the door, we are attacked. Physically, mentally, emotionally, not physically, boom, boom, but all that negative energy out there is. So that's why we arm ourselves first thing in the morning. Phenomenal woman, Dr. Maya Angelou, poet, late author, poet, actress, director, woman who spoke 6 languages and never went to college. She says, before you face the day, face the spirit that is within you. And you can choose to call it whatever you choose to call it. God, Allah, Buddha, Yahweh, Yud-He, Wah-Fe, Jesus, Allah, whatever you choose to call it, just call it. Because it's always listening. The question is, are you always listening? So that's what this Monday morning mindfulness experience is about, offering you the opportunity to go within and to listen. And to do that, we begin with Monday morning mindfulness meditation. And I like to begin something that I've been doing that I haven't been sharing with you, but I'm going to start sharing. Well, I started last week sharing it with you. So I am going to share with you essential oils that I use. And why am I using essential oils during meditation? Well, let me explain something. Oils are essential. It's an essential part of who you are. And everything usually comes from an oil. So why not use the oil as opposed to using something else? So this morning we're using grapefruit oil. And you can get it from anywhere you get your oils from. Be sure and check out Jody Susan of Susan Essentials. No, her last week was last week. Nope, she won't be with us. Well, you can still go to SusanEssentials.com. But I went to Whole Paycheck and got these. See, this is called grapefruit. And take a couple of dabs. 1, 2. Just rub it in your hand. And then you do what? Inhale through your nose. Oh, that smells so good. One more time. Inhale deeply. And what does that do, Zelda? It feels good, that's for sure. Grapefruit essential oils is part of aromatherapy. It balances your mood. You know how sometimes we're off balance, especially women, and we have these mood swings. I know Tony's probably saying you need to suck on it all day. Anywho, it decreases your blood pressure and it relieves stress. It's the stress reliever. So keep a bottle of grapefruit essential oil in your pocket, purse, whatever. I keep some with me. Keep some kind of oil at all the time because you never know. You're going to be attacked. If you go outside your door, window, whatever, you're going to be attacked mentally, emotionally. So that's what that's for. So now that we've inhaled the grapefruit essential oil, we're going to inhale some more. We're going to simply breathe in and breathe out through your nose. Inhale through your nose. Hold it for a few seconds and then let it out through the mouth. However you do it, it's fine with me as long as you do it because this is a practice that's for you. This is the practice to help you keep your sanity in times of chaos and confusion. And from time to time, you'll hear that sound. And that sound is simply a reminder to focus on your breath, on your chest, because the mind has a tendency to wander because that's what the mind does and you can't control it, but you can redirect it. So that's what that sound was for. So let us begin the process of breathing in and breathing out to the sound of nature, because nature nurtures. And next week, I'll be in nature, and I'll tell you all about that a little later. But it's imperative that we find some nature. If we're not in nature, bring nature inside. You see my plants? They're all over the place because I can't get outside in the wintertime. And I need to be enveloped, enclosed, smothered, loved by nature. So I bring it in. And you can do the same thing too. So just get you some plants and breathe in and breathe out. Here we go. Close your eyes. You should not be looking at me, but the inside of your eyelids. As we breathe in. And those on the switchboard, you can't see me, but you can breathe with me. I see you. 312-849-882-3336-350-773-321-312-602. I see you on the switchboard. And I hope that you're breathing with me as we breathe in. Hold it and blow it out. The breath is the one thing that can calm us down in times of chaos and confusion. As we breathe in and as we breathe out. You see these long, deep breaths relax the system. And those short breaths that you're taking, it stresses the system. That's why you see people like this. Your system is stressed and you don't want to stress it any more than you have to. That's why we breathe in. And that's why we breathe out. Breathe in. Bringing the breath all the way to the top of the forehead and bringing it down as you bring out through the face, the forehead, landing on the shoulders. Excuse me, as we continue to breathe in and breathe out, rotate those shoulders backwards and forwards and simply stretch as we breathe in And as we breathe out, move from side to side, doing the high alerting hip roll because we have been sleeping, our bodies have been sleeping. They need to be awakened. The organs need to be awakened. Heart, liver, lung, spleen, spine, digestive, assimilation, and elimination organs of the body. We give thanks as we breathe in. Hold it. And as we breathe out, sending more love, light, and energy down through the chest, the solar plexus, and the sides, and the stomach, and the hips, and the back as we breathe in and breathe out. It doesn't matter if we're breathing in and breathing out together, as long as we're breathing as we inhale deeply. And exhale, sending more love, light, and energy down through the legs, the hips, the thighs, the knees. Oh, yes, love those knees. Rub on those knees and any part of your body that says it's out of balance and need a little attention here as we breathe in. And as we breathe out, sending more love, light, and energy down through the legs and the ankles and the arches and the toes. Yes, wiggle those toes. Those toes love to be wiggled as we send more love, light, and energy with the breath. Bringing that energy of the toes back up through the feet and the arch and the ankles and the legs. And the knees, as we rub on those knees, or that hip or that thigh, whatever it is that's talking to you this morning. Pay attention to you so they don't have to cut it, okay? As we breathe in. Stop letting these, I digress. Find alternative sources for your pain besides the scalpel. How about that? As we breathe in. We give thanks for the power of the breath because somebody somewhere is about to go in surgery and that might not be necessary. So you need to have a conversation with the Creator and get in touch with your body and see what it's trying to tell you this morning, because we cannot blame our medical doctors because they were trained by a system that was designed to rupture our bodies, not bring peace and balance like this breathing does this morning. As we breathe in, hold it. And as we breathe out, we give thanks for the medical profession because it has saved many a life. It saved my life when I had an accident. But we must go beyond that and seek that is within that will guide us and guard us and protect us for whatever health challenges we may experience. Know that there is a herb somewhere. That's one of the reasons why I'm going where I'm going, and I'll tell you about that later. So you can get you some herbs, honey. You do not need to be cut on. When you know better, you do better. As we breathe in, and as we breathe out, I think of Mama AZ, who has been cut from head to toe, and she has chosen that route. And I give thanks for all the examples that she brings to us, to the Female Solution, reminding us what happens when you go under the knife. That's a chance you take. And we all have choices. And we ask the Creator for divine intervention when it comes to those choices. As we breathe in, knowing that the right choice is always made when it is made in sincerity, and asking for clarity. And knowing that the life that we save with our very own breath as we breathe in could be our own. When we listen to the still, small voice that tells us every single thing that we need to know as we breathe in. And as we blow out, we inhale grace and exhale fear. We inhale faith and exhale fear. We inhale knowing, the knowing that we read this morning. Inhale it. Let's do that together. Inhale deeply. And exhale fear. As we continue to breathe in and breathe out, we bring the energy back up from the hips, through the back, through the side, as we breathe in and breathe out. Bringing that energy back up through the arms, the solar plexus, and the chest as we stretch and stretch and stretch and give thanks. And we can stretch from one side to the other. And we can turn to the back and feel that stretch in the body. And we exhale as we inhale deeply. And as we exhale, turn to the side and stretch and stretch and stretch. Giving thanks for the power of movement, because somebody somewhere cannot move on their own. And look at you, breathing and moving and thinking all on your own. Hallelujah. As we breathe in, we take this last breath for this exercise and we give thanks as we blow it out. Breathe in, hold it, and blow it out. Once more, breathe in, hold it, and blow it out. And as we take this last long deep breath, inhale deeply, hold it. We look to the left to as far as we possibly can, feeling a stretch in the right side of the neck. Oh yeah, that feels good. And bring your head back forward, blow it out. Inhale deeply. Look to the right as far as you possibly can. If you got a crook in your neck, that's okay. Just go as far as you can. Feel that stretch in the left side of the neck. Oh, yeah, that feels good. And bring it back. Inhale deeply. And exhale. Giving thanks for the power of the breath. Ladies and gentlemen, you have just spent the most precious moments of the day. Your first 5 minutes of the day, 10, 15, however many minutes you choose. It is entirely up to you. But we are very grateful for the power of the breath, because, ladies and gentlemen, you have just activated the happiness G. Yes. And you're wondering why you're walking around with a smile all day. Because you sent love, light, and energy down through the breath, through each and every organ in the body, and it responded. It gives thanks and it makes you feel good. How cool is that? That's a good thing. So this is something that you can practice every day, alone preferably. If you have children or a significant other that you want to join you, have them do so, because this is a family affair. This will help us in times of chaos and confusion, because it's right around the corner. And I want to thank you for joining me with this experience this morning. And this is something that you can share with your family, with your loved ones, and the haters. Honey, share it all, because we all need it. And remember that which you do first thing in the morning will serve you well all day long. You just have to remember to practice it. Practice makes perfect. No, I'm not going to say that. Practice makes improvement. And the more time you spend with yourself, for yourself, the better your experience will be during the course of the day. So I thank you for participating in the Monday morning mindfulness meditation. And I invite you to remember that which you choose to select your articles of clothing to remind you of your greatness. I share this with you. faith series. If you are one who likes to practice what you preach, simply put your t-shirt on and wear it and watch what happens. See, fashion designers know this. You don't know this, but I'm telling you a secret. And most of us will not get it, but because you are a member of the Female Solution, I'm sure that you'll get it. So let's take our first break. And when we come back, we will be joined by Brother Lionel Abudl Haqq of Community Cultivations, and he will join us in the discussion of the roots of our dysfunction. What can we do about it? As we take a break here, and we will be right back. And here's a promo from the Betty Shabazz International Charter School podcast training. And you can sign your school, organization, club, or church ministry up too. So check it out.
And you're watching CTV on the Higher Learning Network. Yeah, right.
Hi, I'm Brandon. Hi, I'm Akil. And you're watching the Betty Shabazz podcast training on the Higher Learning Network. Yeah.
Do you want to live in a world without war? Join our global peace movement. Heavenly Culture World Peace Restoration of Life transcends culture, religion, ideology, and other boundaries to achieve peaceful harmony in the global society. HWPL is committed to bringing world peace and cessation of war through peaceful dialogue between religious groups. I am Director Shin-Suk Kim of the HWPL Chicago branch of North America. Join us for our next gathering. Call 773-580-1501 and be a part of the movement for world peace. Email us at chicagohwpl@gmail.com.
Do you have a product or service? Take your business global and get new customers from around the world. Advertise on the Female Solution radio show. You may have a great product. You may even have a fantastic website. But how do you let people know you exist? Tell them. Promote your business on one of the most dynamic shows on Blog Talk Radio, the Female Solution. You'll reach an enthusiastic audience of more than 100,000 loyal daily listeners with a specially designed 30-second ad that will drive customers directly to your website. We'll send you statistics as tracked by Blog Talk Radio to let you know the numbers and demographics of those hearing your advertisement. Your ad will run during the live 2-hour morning show from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, and it will be heard all day long by listeners who listen to the archive show. You'll reach our worldwide audience on your laptop, iPod, iPad, and cell phone. Watch the orders for your product or service increase. Just go to our website, www.naimalatif.com. That's www.naimalatif.com, and click on the radio advertising page. Send us your words. We'll create a 30-second radio ad and watch your business increase worldwide.
Do you worry about finances, family, health, job, relationships? Are you in pain? Do you feel stuck? If you answer yes to any of these questions, help is available. Don't worry, you're not alone. It's part of the human process. We only feel this way because we haven't mastered the voices in your head. No hype, just down-to-earth, solid, workable tools and techniques that you can practice daily. It's really food for the soul. Whether you want to learn how not to worry about anything, reverse type 2 diabetes, publish a book, promote your product or service, or just make extra money. Take advantage of the deal of the day. Go to zeldaspeaks.com or call 312-409-6619. Mention promo code The Female Solution and get free shipping. That's zeldaspeaks.com or 312-409-6619. Stop worrying today. Visit zeldaspeaks.com.
Grand Rising, and thank you for joining us back here on The Female Solution. I'm your host, Zelda Speaks, and last Friday, just this past Friday, we had the pleasure of completing our 12-week training with the podcast training for youth at the Betty Shabazz International Charter School, and they have a morning ritual every morning. And before our ceremony, we want to share this with you because I never knew such a thing existed. So you're in for a treat. So check this out. This is Naima on Friday's show with Health and Wellness with Viata. And if you didn't get a chance to see it, go back and see this. You'll be glad you did. But here's an excerpt from the show.
And a quick shout out for Mama Amber and Mama Aisha, who are only here 2 days a week. But what did they do? They stopped to help me yesterday, and I appreciate that so much. So for those names and those names only, I got a special treat for you in the kitchen. I appreciate you.
Yeah, boy,
Uh-oh.
It's the principal right here. We're not done yet because a very special presentation that we're going to have on this.
Now, why you want to be like
this morning circle? We have some very special students that need to be recognized for excellence. But before we do that, I wanted to give an opportunity to bring these mamas out to introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about their program and why they.
So for those of you who are not on Facebook or YouTube, we're watching a graduation ceremony with our sister Zelda, Monday Morning Mindfulness host, and Naima, our executive producer, where these kids have been working very hard. Let me, she's going to interview someone.
I'm Mama Naima, and this is Mama Zelda. And we have had the joy of having some very intelligent, gifted, articulate students in our podcasting class. And this has been a 12-week program where they have learned how to organize and create a live radio TV show. We've been live every Wednesday from 2 p.m. to 2:15 p.m. We've been live. You can see us visually on the Higher Learning Network, where we're filming live right now. We're filming on the Higher Learning Network. And we've shown them how to present your school and all the wonderful things you're doing, because this is a very powerful program that you have here. And we want the rest of the nation to know what you do so they can follow your lead and produce excellent, outstanding young people as you all are. So today we want to honor those who work with our program. They learn how to be hosts and directors, and they learn how to articulate questions and be guests. And we want to honor them with certificates and t-shirts.
So that's just a little bit of what our family of Female Solution hosts are doing when they're not on Blog Talk Radio and YouTube and so forth. They're honoring young people who were in a class, who committed to a class of becoming podcast, learning how to be podcast. That's what we need to do with our youth today, is train them early in whatever it is they are passionate about. And I believe it was Nelson Bay who said something about he has a purpose in life. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's here to do. This is another key to preventing lung problems, because if you know why you're here on this planet, then you are going to eliminate a lot of the war going on inside of you. You're going to eliminate the friction inside of you.
And that is exactly what we are talking about, the friction that is going on inside of you. And it starts at home. It starts with our babies. So what kind of environment are our children growing up in? And for those of you who are on the switchboard who can't see this, was an excerpt from the show. You can see it. So actually it's on my YouTube, on my blog, zeldaspeaks.wordpress.com. So you can go back and see it there. And right now what you will see is the root of our dysfunction and what we can do about it, because that is today's title show. But when you go to the blog and you scroll down, you'll see the daily morning ritual at Betty Shabazz International Charter School. That's what you just looked at. And it starts, Naima starts talking at about in 14 minutes. So if you want to go and check that out, please feel free to do that. While we are waiting for Brother Lionel Abudl Haqq to call in, he is calling me on my phone, but that is not where I want him to call. Need PIN number. You don't need a PIN number. Okay, Lionel, you don't need a PIN number. You don't need a PIN number. You just dial direct. I don't know why he's having this issue this morning, but you don't need a PIN number. Anyway, I wanted to share that with you, and until he gets on the phone, I'm just going to show you a little bit more of that video until we can figure out what's going on here. And I'm aware that there is a plot against, well, you can go back and hear that on your own. I want you to hear what's going on in the schools that I did not know about, because Black principals in the Black community are being, what's the word I can use for it without sounding accusatory? I'm going to let you listen to it, and you let me know.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we're here with our brother Troy Larabier. He is over the Chicago Principals Association, and boy, y'all got to really hear what this brother got to say. So, Troy, thanks for joining us on the show today.
Pleasure to be here, brother. Thanks.
So Troy, let's get right to it. Tell us everything going on with Chicago Public Schools, how you're removing Black principals. Let us know about that.
Well, there have been, by official count, 10 removals this year. 8 of them have been Black principals, and 7 of them were Black male principals. To give you some perspective, only 8% of principals in the city are Black males, but 70% of the ones they've removed are Black males. That is no coincidence. Like, right off the bat, something's wrong. And there's actually an article published in the Chicago Sun-Times, pushback over principal probes, where they validated 4 claims that we made. They validated 3 of them. The first claim is that they've been targeting Black principals, right? And so that stat, 7 out of 10 were Black males, that came from the Chicago Sun-Times research. And so that's validated our claim that they've been targeting Black principals. The second claim that we made is that they've used substandard investigative tactics. One, they didn't even want to release the investigative report. They removed folks and didn't tell them what they were charged with. We were able to force them to tell Abdul Muhammad what he was charged with through some legal moves and release the investigative report. And once we got it, we realized why they didn't want to release it. It was filled with all kinds of investigative mishaps, slights, failures to vet witnesses, failure to do fact checks, just anything an investigator is supposed to do, they didn't do it. And so this article, once again, validated because they talked to the old inspector general and had him look at the report and validated that this was a sloppy report and they didn't use proper standard investigative techniques. So that got validated. The third thing that we said was
Head to web.com and let our AI tools bring your web to life today.
But I want you to hear. So,
that
appears to me,
even if some principals did all of these things in this report, right, which Abdul Muhammad did not, but even if some principals did, it's petty. You know, stuff like a false claim that he showed up to work late. Like, he didn't, but even if he did, why is the law department investigating? That's the supervisor. You know, I remember being a teacher, and I remember showing up late. My principal said, hey, the start time for students is 8, but you have to be here at 8:30. I said, oh, I didn't know that. This is my first time teaching, right? So they didn't call the law department and investigate why I showed up late. A supervisor came to me and said, hey, and the problem is fixed. Nobody ever went to Abdul Muhammad about any of these charges. His supervisor, he just kept feeding things to the law department. Petty accusation. And so this also validated. As a matter of fact, the whole focus of the story is on how petty they are. They don't use the word petty. They use words like unjustified, unwarranted. Like, these charges don't justify a removal. They don't justify. They don't warrant taking a principal out of a school and causing all of this disruption in students' lives over these petty accusations. So they validated 3 of our 4 claims. Our 4th claim is that the charges are fabricated, that they actually looked for people. And you can see them going to the same 7 white teachers and 1 black clerk over and over again to go against the written record. So there's an evidence base that says Abdul Muhammad is innocent. They were looking for people to say things that went against the evidence, and they only quoted what people said and did not reference the evidence in the report. So the report is completely fabricated. So that's number 1 about Abdul Muhammad. But they're fabricating these cases about black principals all over the city. So the question becomes, what is the motivation? What is going on here? And one of the things that we noticed is that most of the principal removals, particularly for black men, are focused in areas that the city is trying to gentrify. Areas where there's some kind of engineered demographic shift taking place, right? And so, again, we have, this wasn't the Sun-Times article. This was just us putting things together, where you have a principal here who was a black principal of a majority white school. So the racists came out against her and CPS got behind the racists. I mean, it was bad. They sent her text messages like, your time is short. We're going to get you. Like, and she actually went to the district for help and they completely ignored her. But then when those same racists went to the district to try and get her removed, the district actually got behind them. And we can show you some of those text messages too.
Did this happen during the tenure of Brandon Johnson?
She was removed during the election. She was removed, but the day he was elected, we talked to him about what was going on. He came into our studios and we talked to him on camera about the fact that we had 15 cases against principals before 2019. Then the next year there were 74. And 2 years after that, it grew to 116 cases against principals in 1 year. So they lost this investigative harassment. And we gave him the numbers. He said, yes, something needs to be done about this. And now that it's gotten even further, not only have we seen there's this increase in investigative harassment, but we see that they're actually fabricating cases he doesn't want to talk about. He met with a group of black male principals this week. They tried to bring it up. He told them he does not want to talk about it. But today he posted something on social media with a little Caucasian kid winning a contest about mullets. He had a nice mullet. So you rather spend your time. You think that's more important. You think that's worth your time to uplift this kid with a mullet, but not uplift black children who are going without black leadership, strong leadership, stable leadership. You don't think that's important enough for your time. Like, where in the hell are this man's priorities at? Somebody, not somebody, we all need to ask that question. Where are his priorities? So no, he doesn't want to
You can see this video on my blog, zeldaspeaks.wordpress.com. I will be posting it on there so you can see what is really going on in our communities. The fact that he said that there are 116 cases in a year and a half targeting Black principals. There is something going on. There is some construction about to be made that we know absolutely nothing about. He hit it right on the head. Something is always brewing in the city of Chicago, in any city for that matter. But the fact that they fabricated 116 cases and all in the Black community. Okay, so what expressway or condo development do they? We know it's not expressway, but we know there's some kind of condo development going on up there. Well, you tell me. 515-605-9325. Press 1 to speak. If you're online on our YouTube or Facebook page, Higher Learning TV Show, you can send us a little note. Let us know what city, country, state, or you're calling from. Grand Rising, my sister from another Mr. Vieta Robinson says, Grand Rising, sister. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. While we're waiting for Lionel Abudl Haqq to call in, you can call in at 515-605-9325. Press 1 to speak. The roots of our dysfunction. What can we do about it? That's the topic of discussion. Let's go to 773-221. You are live on the Female Solution, Grand Rising. What's your name? Where are you calling from? And what is your question or comment as it relates to the roots of our dysfunction? Hi, who's this? Unmute yourself. 773-221. Okay. There's Lionel. 312-642. Lionel Abudl Haqq. Welcome to the show this morning. Unmute yourself.
What? I just sent a text message. Your address and
Is that Andrew Nelson? You're live on the Female Solution. Andrew. Okay, Andrew does not know that we can hear him. Andrew, did you want to comment? Andrew Nelson Bay. Okay, I do believe this is Lionel Abudl Haqq. Yes, go right ahead, Lionel. We have you loud and clear. Go right ahead. Grand Rising, welcome to the show. Grand Rising, yes. Yeah, I have you on the phone. Go ahead. We're just fine. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We were having a few difficulties, but we got you.
Yeah. I don't know what was going on, but it was. I hope we're glad we got it resolved.
I hope so too. We got you. That's what's important. Go right ahead.
All praise be to the Most High. Grand Rising, glad to be with you. And tap into another discussion about some of the relevant things that's going on in our world. And as last time, I think it's because of how serious things are. I would like to ask you to indulge me once again with a moment of silence for us to get in touch with our Creator, all of us who are listening, and ask for blessings in this discussion and in peace in the world.
Amen.
If you could do that, I appreciate it. So if we can ask for a brief moment of silence to get started with, I appreciate it.
We have one brief moment of silence right now as we speak.
Okay. Thank you. I would like to express my sincere best wishes of peace to everyone and ask that our Creator will bless us with the kind of sober frame of mind that will help guide us through these troubled times. And so one other thing I would like to do right quick is just to bring to mind the fact that Dionne Warwick was honored at an awards program over the weekend.
Yes.
For her lifetime achievement.
Yes.
One of the things that I wanted to focus on in this discussion was the piece that Burt Bacharach that she sang called Alfie.
Yes.
And that song is very appropriate in the context of this discussion. And I have it queued up on my computer. I would like to play just a little bit.
Please go right ahead.
So, and we have to guide our folks in this.
We can barely hear it. Lionel. We can't hear it, Lionel. No, we cannot. Put it close to the speaker. We can barely hear you. We can barely hear you. Please, because we can barely hear you. If you're listening on the switchboard and you have a question, 515-605-9325, press 1 to speak. And the topic of discussion. We're talking about the root of our dysfunction. Don't hear anything, Lionel. I don't hear anything.
Okay, well, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you, yes.
Okay. Well, the song actually begins by asking the question, what's it all about? And are we meant to be kind, or are we meant to be cruel? And that dichotomy, those two extreme positions, is what is the foundation of cognitive dissonance, which we have discussed on a number of occasions, is a psychological disorder that is the result of having conflicting ideas, having dual priorities in your thinking and affecting your behavior. And whether or not we should be kind or whether we should be evil is, in that case, kind of dichotomy that creates cognitive dissonance. And the fact that that song was 50 years old has resonated so well because it speaks to the fundamental problem affecting us today. Cognitive dissonance, having conflicting ideas operating in our psyche that are our polar opposites of each other. For them to exist in the same place at the same time is a formula for madness, insanity. And this is where we are. This is the root of our dysfunction. That we've been misled, that movement, running up and led astray, miseducated, and grossly deceived in our psychological programming on television, movies, and the internet.
Yes, we have been bamboozled and continue to be. And that is the...
And this is what we strive with community cultivation to make people aware of in every way that we can, and to get us to get real, as the young people say, and get away from all this fantasy, magic, illusion, deception, pretense, and acting that is making us think that by thinking it is the best way to go. And putting on a false faith, putting on a false idea of life, the imitation of life, one that reflects the kind of programming that we receive from television and movies that is sensationalized to the point where we behave in ways that are inconsistent with the nature of the issues that we're trying to address.
With the nature.
And so
go ahead.
Yeah, if it's a serious issue, it should be addressed in a serious manner. It should not be repressed with behavior and comments that inflame the issue, that take the issue into a different dimension that is not serious, that is not conducive to a serious resolution of the problem. And we make jokes, we crack jokes, we start using calling people by name. We try to disrupt, take us out of the serious and sober mindset to address issues and begin to behave like children and people who are really interested in creating more conflict than trying to resolve conflict.
Amen.
Yeah. And the situation that's going on in Palestine and Israel is a clear example of that.
And that is the voice of Lionel Abudl Haqq of Community Cultivations. It's 8:03, and if you're just joining us, the topic of discussion is exactly what's going on in our schools, in our community, in our neighborhoods. It is the roots of our dysfunction, and what can we do about it? Well, there's a lot that we can do about it. The question is, will we get involved? As we take our next break, you think about that for a moment, and we'll be right back and you can talk about it and call in.
Oh, man, I sent the monthly sun bill today. This sunlight is really expensive, especially during this season. I'll probably have to work overtime to pay it.
Well, you better pay it on time. We don't want the sun to go out and we're sitting up here all day in the dark. Wouldn't it be terrible if God charged us for sunlight? Well, thank God, the light and heat from the sun is free. So why are we paying such high bills for the energy we use in our homes? Because we don't know how to use solar energy, the free energy from the sun. You can convert your regular home to a solar energy home and save tremendously on your electric bill. Take a look at your electric bill. Wouldn't you like to reduce or possibly even eliminate that cost altogether? Let one of our solar consultants show you how. Call today, 312-849-3456, and schedule a free consultation. That's 312-849-3456. About finances, family, health, job, relationships. Are you in pain? Do you feel stuck? If you've been to resting and help is available. Don't worry, you're not alone. It's part of the human process. only feel this way because you haven't mastered the voices in your head. No hype, just down to earth, solid, workable tools and techniques that you can practice daily. It's really food for the soul. You're going to learn how not to worry about anything. There's type 2 diabetes, publishing work, promoting product or service, go make it money. Take advantage of the good of the day. Go to wellnessfix.com or call 212-409-6619. Mention promo code the Female Solution and get free shipping. That's wellnessfix.com or 312-409-6619. Stop worrying today. Visit wellnessfix.com. Hi, I'm Dr. CJ of Lionel Health, where we combine orthopedic manual therapy and neuroscience to treat the whole person. Health tip for the day is keep it moving. Doesn't matter how, just keep it moving doing something you enjoy. Walking, dancing, rolling on the floor with your dogs or kids, really anything. The body craves movement to keep its bones, joints, and muscles happy. Even our mental health and internal organs and digestive system rely on our movement. Thanks for being a part of the Higher Learning Network, the Female Solution.
And you're watching CTV on the Higher Learning Network. Yeah, right.
Hi, I'm Brandon. Hi, I'm Akil. And you're watching the Betty Shabazz podcast training on the Higher Learning Network. Yeah.
Couple of our star students, Brandon, the one on the right, he's the one responsible for bringing all the children into the classroom. So that ceremony that we had just this past Friday at the Betty Shabazz International Charter School podcast training, their morning ritual, what they do every morning is they empower their students with a ritual. I'd never seen anything like that in a public school before in my life. So that's why it's a charter school. But back to the subject at hand, this is why we're doing this show, because they are attacking our children, Lionel. They are starting in the school system. So just in case, for those of you on the switchboard who can't see the video that I played earlier of an interview with a young man by the name of Troy La Rivere on purging of Black educators, gentrification, and inaction. It is the inaction that is getting us in trouble because we are not stepping up to the plate to face these demons when they put these roadblocks in our ways. So the question is, Lionel, how do we move forward, because they are attacking our children? 116 principals, 116 cases, and they all happen to be Black principals. Come on now, work with me here. Over a year and a half, there's an investigation done, and it was a sloppy investigation. So they are attacking us at home with our children. They are beginning in the home. They don't want us to learn anything. Well, we're really a blessing in disguise because we don't need to learn what they're teaching. Do we, Lionel? Because they're teaching us falsehoods.
Well, if they're in positions where they're supposed to be teaching us, then that they do need to do that. And those who are not doing it should not be in that position. And we have to reunify. The lack of unity on the part of people, massive people, the population, we're all divided. We're all divided and distracted with foolishness, sport and play. The time and energy that we put into entertaining ourselves and each other, it could be very much better used in addressing some of these problems.
Amen.
But we don't have time. We spend too much time having fun, and engaging in activities that fill our mind with the notion of magic and illusion, distraction. And this is the biggest problem we have. We're not serious about trying to address our problems. We're leaving our problems to people who claim to represent our best interests, but we wouldn't have these problems if they were doing their job. And so we have to get involved. If you don't get involved, people will tell you they're working on your best interest, and they're really not, because you're not looking.
Right.
You're not paying attention.
Right.
You spend your time watching the football game all day on Saturday, and going to the amusement park and putting lights up on your house so that you can make an impression that you are involved with this Christmas thing. And the Christmas thing is not about Jesus. It's about Santa Claus. And we have to get out of this foolish mindset that continues to perpetuate cognitive dissonance, the inability to make sound judgment, because your foundation, your concept of life are so polarized. You think you put as much energy into Santa Claus and lights as you put into the idea that Jesus was supposed to have been born on the 25th of December, and that this is supposed to be an honorable celebration. There's nothing honorable about Santa Claus. There's nothing honorable about the idea of the live flying reindeer and magical trips around the world giving toys kids. This is BS. And we need to stop feeding this kind of mess and perpetuating this kind of things in light of the serious problems that we have. It's not consistent with sound judgment that we would be continuing to do this. That, the idea of Black Friday, going out buying Christmas presents, all of that is not associated with Jesus. It's not associated with worship. It's associated with fantasy, magic, and BS. And we need to get real.
Yes, we do. And the way to do that is to get involved. And it all begins at home. It doesn't begin in the school.
Well, the schools, the streets, the culture.
Yeah.
The culture is a bigger influence than we give it credit for.
Yes, indeed.
We have been programmed to such a degree that the minute you start to try to stop doing what we have been programmed to do in the culture, you start to feel the gravity of that decision, because the whole world seems to be going in the wrong direction. And the minute you turn around and try to do otherwise, you feel the force. You feel the force of that program. And most people will give in and go back to following the program. But you don't realize how powerful this stuff is until you start to try to change.
Yeah.
But it needs to stop. It needs to be toned down at the very least to a level that puts it in its proper perspective, which is BS. It's phony. If you think you're doing something for the kids, you are hurting the kids more by filling their minds with these lies and BS, this magic, than you could ever imagine. All this magic, all this illusion, this Disney World, never want to grow up mentality is poison. It is absolute poison.
You're absolutely right. Right on target. And it's designed that way. It's called programming.
If we want to do better, if we want better, we got to do better. We got to be sincere. And you got to be strong enough to do what's right, even though everybody else is doing what's wrong.
And that takes courage.
And it takes real faith. Real faith in God. Because God is not part of this BS. God did not tell you to do Santa Claus. There's nowhere in any scripture that tells you that you are supposed to put a tree in your house and put lights on it.
Come on now.
And claim that it's on, as if it's on fire.
Come on now.
That's where it comes from. It comes from a tradition of setting trees on fire that has to do with pagan worship, that has to do with the worship of evil ideas. The history tells you where it came from. It ain't got nothing to do with God. And it should not be a major part of the cultural reality that we celebrate in this country to the extent that we do. It is absurd. It is part of our mental decline. It is a major part of our mental and spiritual decline.
So how do we
where we are today? We gotta change.
How do we begin to change?
Real. You get real by stop being foolish. You get real by stop being involved with fantasy and magic. Your prayer and your good deeds is the biggest magic you'll ever have. Your prayer and your good deeds will do more. It ain't magic, it's real. The blessings that come from it are real. The effect of what you do when you do good deeds is real. And if you're not doing it because it's a custom, it's something that you do or you're supposed to do on a certain day. You're supposed to do this every day.
Every day. And we got
the idea of giving is not giving material things. The best thing you can do to give, the best thing you can give people is understand knowledge, share wisdom, share knowledge, share something that's going to raise them up out of darkness into light.
And I'm so.
And people ain't and so the foolishness that we have been fed through mass media programming has created an appetite in us for foolishness, and it has become like a gorilla that when it wakes up and demands more fun. You got to stop doing what you're doing and go back and have some fun. And the fun that we have is associated with sin. It creates a sensation, and it creates an environment that is conducive to wrongdoing and evil, sinful behavior. And if all of that is all put into the center.
Put into the what, Lionel?
The melting pot.
The melting pot.
The culture is the melting pot. Okay. The melting pot of America is the so-called culture, which is really not culture at all. It is a culture. O-C-T-U-S-T-U-R-E. It is of the devil, and it is taking us straight to hell. And the misery and suffering that we are experiencing is the consequence of this program behavior. That is the root of our discontent, the root of our dysfunction. We can't function because we got opposites pulling in two different directions, and it drains and it diminishes the power of our will.
So what can we
at the Grant,
what can we as individuals on it?
It begins by prayer. Sincere. Be sincere in seeking refuge with God. Seek refuge with God. Attach your spiritual life to the idea of God that you say you believe in. And then start to study history and the history of religion. Not just the one that you know, but the one that you identify with, but you need to start there and then start to study other ones. You need to get the history and the study of religion. Religion has been a major influence.
Yes, it is.
Our behavior. And it's been getting, it's gotten less and less in favor of the foolishness. But the false religion, those who have willfully deceived us about who God is and what God wants for us, who want to exploit us.
Mm-hmm.
And they give us a false idea of religion, a false idea of faith, a false idea of worship, in order to make us weaker and weaker in our faith and faithful behavior, and give us over to the foolishness that of fun, because we don't have the will, the spiritual discipline that comes from practicing real religious acts of worship. We're not doing anything but to giving lip service to God once a week or so. Get in the church and jump up and down and fall and sweat and sing and dance. But in terms of our life, that's given over to the world.
Mm-hmm.
And the world is leading us astray.
Amen.
Deeper and deeper in sin and ignorance.
I'm so glad you spoke on history, Lionel, because I have been watching some videos on history, and one of those came to me as a surprise about the history of our culture, and it's a Netflix special. Listen to what I'm saying. It's a next.
You mean American culture or
American culture.
American culture?
American culture is a Netflix special called High on the Hog, and it tells the history of American food. And when I first saw it, I clicked by it. It's like I don't need to see another cooking show. But Baba Kwame Sunhor sent me a text and said, you need to take a look at this. And I am so glad I did, because it talks about the history of not only our culture, but the history of the food in this company and how it came to be. And there is so much more history in a show on food. I see how they captured this, how they directed this. And I'm thinking to myself, wow. Now, because we have been so conditioned in America to eat for every event, graduation, a job promotion, let's do lunch. Food is our culture, and we don't even know what's behind the culture, how it came to be. So I just had to say that you have got to see the history of American culture as it relates to food. High on the Hog. You are going to get a history lesson that you never even expected. And some comments from those listening online. Vieta Robinson, my sister from another sister, Mr. says, he's speaking a truth that few want to hear, but we need to listen and make changes for peace sake. Thank you, sister. Thank you, Vieta. Right on time. Lionel.
All praise be to the Most High. We have to get real. We have to get real. The salvation of our world, it depends upon us being true. True and real are the same thing. And fantasy is not true. Fantasy does not benefit people. You don't benefit people by feeding them fantasy and BS.
Nope.
You got to feed them the truth. And if the truth is in there, you got to separate the truth from the magic, from the illusion, from the lies.
Mm-hmm.
And you shouldn't have them together in the first place. It's just the idea of putting that you're doing somebody a favor, that you're doing your children a favor by feeding this Santa Claus stuff about the reindeers and all that. That is a lie. You're not doing them children a favor by lying to them,
right,
and making them believe that this is true.
Right.
I remember clearly that when I found out that there was no Santa Claus, I was kind of pissed off.
Yeah, weren't we all?
That my parents would deceive me like that.
Mm-hmm.
That they would go to such great lengths
mm-hmm.
to make me believe that this little white man was bringing me toys.
Right.
And I believed it so much. I actually had a dream where I thought I saw the Santa Claus.
You said
this is not a joke.
No, it's not.
This is not something fun. This is not fun. This is deception that is rooted on a daily basis.
Yes, sir.
And now we sick to death. We sick to death with foolishness and fantasy. We don't know the difference between what's real and what ain't.
Right.
And in many cases, we prefer the BS. We would rather be fed foolishness because it's more fun.
Because that's what we've been conditioned to believe. We've been programmed since birth, since day one. And that does not stop overnight. You have to, kind of like a baby with a bottle, you kind of have to wean yourself off of it. So it's a process.
Depending on how serious.
Yeah.
Depending on how seriously you realize about the thought.
Right.
When you realize that you've been being fed poison, you ain't gonna just keep drinking that poison.
Right. But you got to realize it first.
You know that, yeah, but once you realize, once the very thought that it might be poison comes to your mind,
right,
you need to start examining and thinking seriously about whether or not you're going to keep eating it.
Right. And that's a choice you have to make.
Well, we have to make it as a collective society.
As a collective, yes.
As a collective society. You can't, the people who have created it have money and power. And they use that money and power to perpetuate the lie that this is in our best interest. When common sense would tell you that it's not. You're lying to your children.
Right.
You're feeding them a lie. You're going to great lengths to make this lie seem real. And at some point, they're going to come to realize that you lied.
And when they find out,
how is that going to affect them?
Yes.
How is that going to affect them?
Just like we were bamboozled, we find out, and it's like, wow, we've been lied to all our lives about this. All of our lives. So
and that's why lying is such a pervasive thing. I think it's really profound that we have Donald Trump in the Republican Party leading the presidential race for the Republican Party. And you got this guy Santos also being expelled, the congressman, being expelled for doing the exact same thing, being as big a liar as Donald Trump is.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, they don't want to get rid of Donald Trump, but they do want to get rid of Santos.
Right.
Both of them have a very similar characteristic and personality of being pathological lying. And yet, they prefer one and not the other.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that a strange kind of contradiction?
Yeah.
That they would support Donald Trump and yet they would expel Santos.
That's the game that they play. That's the game that they play with us. And
the situation in Palestine and Israel, I mean, the Israelis are talking about they got to kill Hamas, and they don't care about the fact that they're killing all these civilians at the same time. They want to blame that on Hamas, but they don't want just dropping the bomb.
Right.
They're killing the civilians. How can you justify killing the civilians just because you want to get your enemy?
Right.
You want to kill your enemy so bad that you want to kill all the civilians in the process. That's not right. That's not right.
By no means.
People should know that that's not right. People should recognize that it's not right. And how blind can you be to think that it's justified to kill all those civilians in pursuit of your enemy?
And the enemy is always waiting in the cut. What can I tell you? 8:30. If you just joined the conversation, the roots of our destruction, dysfunction. What can we do about it? With Lionel Abudl Haqq on Community Cultivations. We see the lines are lit up. 773-221-312-882-314-667. We will get you right after the commercial, so stay close.
About finances, family, health, jobs, relationships. Are you in pain? Do you feel stuck? Action. The voices in your head. No hype, just down to earth, solid, workable tools and techniques that you can practice daily. It's really food for the soul. When you learn how not to worry about anything. Those type 2 diabetes, cholesterol, promote the product or service, or just make extra money. Take advantage of the good pain. Go to wellnessfix.com or call 212-409-6619. Mention promo code The Female Solution and get free shipping. That's wellnessfix.com or 312-409-6619. Stop worrying today. Visit wellnessfix.com. Hi, I'm Lionel Abudl Haqq, executive producer of the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. We are a part of the online network of Associated Internet Radio hosts, On Air. On Air empowers you with transformative news and interactive radio TV shows. This is such a wonderful time to be alive and to see our human family coming together as one community as a result of that powerful tool, the internet. We can now talk directly to each other all over the world. There's no need for conflict or misunderstanding. There's no need for violence to solve our differences. We can talk to each other face to face until we reach an agreement. On Air offers a fantastic global guide to communicators from all over the world who are using their internet platforms to inspire us to strive to be our best selves in order to become the kind, compassionate, loving people we were all born to be. Once we do that, we'll see planet Earth transformed into a place of peace. Subscribe to the recommended YouTube channels, Facebook pages, and podcasts created by these Voices of Enlightenment. On Air provides daily news briefs and a weekly magazine to keep you abreast of events and opportunities. On Air news affiliates in television, radio, and print share information, insight, and interviews with notable personalities. Go to OnAirEverywhere.com for a daily dose of uplifting news. We're on air everywhere, online all the time.
Oh man, God sent the monthly sun bill today. This sunlight is really expensive, especially during this season. I'll probably have to work overtime to pay it.
Well, you better pay it on time. We don't want the sun to go out and we're sitting up here all day in the dark. Wouldn't it be terrible if God charged us for sunlight? Well, thank God, the light and heat from the sun is free. So why are we paying such high bills for the energy we use in our homes? Because we don't know how to use solar energy, the free energy from the sun. You can convert your regular home to a solar energy home and save tremendously on your electric bill. Take a look at your electric bill. Wouldn't you like to reduce or possibly even eliminate that cost altogether? Let one of our solar consultants show you how. Call today, 312-849-3456, and schedule a free consultation. That's 312-849-3456.
Grand Rising, and thank you for joining us back here on the Female Solution. I'm your host, Zelda Speaks, joined by Brother Lionel Abudl Haqq of Community Cultivations. And he said something very serious, I thought, earlier that I forgot to share with you, and it's the fact that to do good on a daily basis, don't wait for the cameras or the people to show up. Just do what you have been assigned to do. And this is what we did yesterday on the Higher Learning Network. So we got to go serve them too. So we still got a few hamburgers. We have no cash. We spend it all on food. We spend it all on food.
Hey,
You need me water?
yeah.
Okay, come on back here and get you some water.
Hold on, y'all.
Good. Got some water, hand sanitizer. Come on, baby.
All right.
See the water right here? See the water?
Let me get one for her. Thank you.
Okay, please do. Get her one.
I'll get a burger for her because she needs to eat. That's
Yeah.
why she over there with ice.
Okay.
Hey, I want to open the door.
I'll get it.
You can see this is the way to get this lady, and there's plenty more work.
Okay, we've given away most of the.
There's plenty more footage, I should say, on our Instagram on hln.homeless.project. And this food is donated to us from eaachicago.org, but the cash donations come from you, the listener and the viewer. So as you can see, they have McDonald's in their hand. That came from you. So I just want to say thank you for helping us do this assignment that we have been given, and that is to feed the homeless. Why do I still do this? Because my little brother, Douglas Robinson, was murdered at Tent City, February 2019. And all the people, all the homeless, unhoused, showed up at his funeral, and it just overwhelmed me, the stories that they were sharing with me. And I asked them, what could I do? And they said, keep bringing the food. And I said, okay, well, I'll keep bringing the food. So that's what we do. So just to know that your tax deductible donations are available, and you can make them at higherlearningnetwork.org. And I do believe that which you give, you will also receive. And if you would like to continue to helping feed the unhoused, if you look at the screen there, the donations, how you can send them: Cash App, Zelda Speaks, the number 2, Vimeo, Higher Learning Network, NFP, Zelle, 312-409-6619, and PayPal, higherlearningnw@yahoo.com. And just to avoid all of that, simply just go to higherlearningnetwork.org, and you'll see the information there. And thank you in advance, because we could not do it without you. This is a community event. I can't feed these people every day out of my pocket. I can't feed them once a week out of my pocket. I need your help, and I am very grateful for your help. So please keep the donations coming. We appreciate that here at the Higher Learning Network. As we take a couple of calls, I've got some comments here. Viata says, those Zionists in Israel are using Hamas as a scapegoat, but their true motive is ethnic cleansing of all the Gaza and the West Bank residents. They not fooling anybody anymore. Truer words have never been spoken. We can see the light, because when you are in the light, you recognize darkness when you see it. My sister, Hamadia Ziad. Good morning, sis. Grand Rising. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Let's go to the phone lines. The lines are lit up. 312-882. You are live on the Female Solution. What's your name? Where you calling from? And what's your comment as it relates to the roots of our dysfunction, destruction, same thing. And we're here with Brother Lionel Abudl Haqq. What's your name? Where you calling from? 312-882. Unmute yourself.
Assalamu alaikum. This is Brother Minister Plump, Robert Floyd Plump, Chicago, Illinois.
Yes, Brother Plump.
And thank you, Brother. I heard about the fire guys here today. You said I heard from announcement about the fire they had at the Swift Mansion. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. And
yeah.
The possibility of a awesome connection. However, let me start like this, because Yahshua, the Lord of the world, who most know as Jesus Christ, is a black man. That's the biggest lie that the system or society told all over the world, is that he was a Caucasian, and that's a big lie. See, we got to go with God. It's a big lie, too, that said that he was God. He never said he was God. However, let me finish getting this out in this way. Numbers do not lie. People lie. Every day, numbers do not lie. However, people lie. Black people, white, red, brown, yellow, They all lie. And the most important thought is that we should know, according to this day and time, the truth. So I'm glad that I can be a free man and I can promote peace, love, unity, marketing people, and I can promote other human beings as a part of life that we can share. Freedom, justice, equality, economics, and unity in the community. And today is international. Is an international, what we call Revolutionary Day. And that's part of the solution too. And you're either part of the solution or you're part of the problem. So I take the road of the solution. This is Channel Fred Hampton, which is the co-founder of the Black Panther Party in the state of Illinois, and Deputy Minister Mark Clark of the Black Panther Party. And we're going to be at 2337 West Monroe, which is Fred Hampton Way, today at 12 o'clock. And we'd like to invite everybody out. And for more information, brothers and sisters can contact Minister Plump at 312-882-5935.
Thank you so much, Minister Plump. We greatly appreciate that. Let's try to get some more calls in before the show is over. 314-677. Your mic is open. What's your name? Where you calling from? And what's your comment as it relates to the roots of our destruction? What's your comment or question? 312. Bianchi, Grand Rising. Thank you so much for calling this morning.
You know, Kwame, the reason Santos is being expelled because that's House rules. It has nothing to do with the president. And I don't know how Donald Trump lied. Everything that he said he was going to do economically as far as businesses and so forth, he's done. I have a list of about 90 of them.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to pay only $1.68 for gas.
This is focused on another newsstand station that he's had on 10,000 lies since he put out this book. He put out that was clearly shown to be lies.
And you got lies all the time.
He lied. Okay, but this ain't going for lies. We're not here to lie.
Has anybody done any checks on that? Everybody's talking. And then let's talk about some lies. You mentioned Betty Shabazz on Ellis Avenue.
We're talking about Santa Claus is a lie. We're talking about the fact that Santa Claus is a lie. And that
Kwanzaa is a lie too. Betty Shabazz International Charter School on Ellis Avenue.
We don't have
on 830 place.
Okay, brother.
You gonna call me? Can I talk? Well, you know, I like to have an on. Kwame, I like to have an on-air panel discussion with you. I don't want to mix up my time on calling and especially you and I have a panel discussion on these things. Now, as I was saying, you got Betty Shabazz on Ellis Avenue, and Valletta was right about Israel, by the way. You got Avalon. You got these schools are failing. You got less than 5% is less than 10% of Hirsch on either side. Betty Shabazz, the performance of these kids is so low that they don't even register. It's not the children's fault. It's the parents' fault. And then you talk about the politics. You got Chicagoans complaining about the immigrants. Well, who made Chicago a sanctuary city? And why would Danny Davis say it's room for everybody when the discussion about illegals coming across the border? You vote for him all the time. So whose problem is this? Whose fault is it? These kids should be doing much, much better than this, but they're not. So when is that going to change around? Kids can't do it themselves. It takes parents. People are like talking, complaining about everybody else. Well, at least they could go over and adopt the kids and help them in their reading and writing. What's the use of having black history and the kids can't read? I just wanted to put that out there.
All righty. Thank you so much, PLK, for calling. We greatly appreciate that. 515-605-9325. Press 1 to speak. 111-1111. Grand Rising. What's your name? Where are you calling from? And what is your comment? 1111. Okay, we will move right along. And
Can you hear me?
yes, loud and clear. Go right ahead.
Okay. So I came in because of the title of the dysfunction and destruction of women. So I'm trying to find out if you're talking about relationships or the culture of women or the mindset of women in general.
This has nothing to do with women only. Go ahead, Lionel.
We're talking about the roots of our dysfunction as society. The dysfunction that is apparent in the news about everything is seems to be in conflict and in turmoil. From the political structure to the war in Gaza, the threat of AI, and so forth. We have a very dysfunctional situation.
Okay, so is there any general consensus as to what the causes may be? Because I have my own opinion.
Well, we were presenting the idea of psychological disorder called cognitive dissonance as being a pervasive problem in our society that is creating or contributing mightily to the dysfunction. Cognitive dissonance is a state of mind where you have conflicting ideas affecting your judgment that have equal or inappropriate.
It's caused by the combination of good people. I know, and that's it's caused by the combination bias people, and it's also related in the novel 1984. And the cognitive dissonance that you're talking about is the state of affairs, which was the objective of the people who actually rule the world, so that people can be divided and confused about anything and everything that's in front of their eyeballs.
Well, there's a connection to the idea of the culture and the influence of the culture to create this state of mind, and that is connected to a lot of conspiracy theories with regard to Zionism and the role of Zionism in shaping the culture, the influence that Zionists have had in shaping the culture. There was a time when the Congress investigated Hollywood and was exposing or charging that
there was also
and they brought them in court and charged them, and a lot of people were charged with doing just that. You willfully undermining human American population judgment through the culture.
Yeah, well, the communists had 13 planks, at least 13 planks of the Communist Manifesto, a lot of which was directed towards the destruction of the United States. Is that what you're referring to?
That conspiracy, but there was also a conspiracy that associated the Zionists with that same kind of conspiracy to undermine and to keep control over the American culture in order to degenerate us to a level that would make us
the Zionists have a good Jewish lobby, which are very powerful, and so does the pharmaceutical industry. And there's a lot of groups, other than just the Zionists, that are trying to control the entire population of not just America, but the entire world. You have the Zionists, you have the Muslims who seek to destroy the world by inbreeding with all the countries that they inhabit. And then you have the communists.
Wait, hold on, wait a minute. Where did that come from, brother? Did you elaborate on that?
That is from an imam that
Hallelujah, rising up. Amalek countries. Things said that the Muslim Brotherhood.
Sir, can you tell me what? Wait. Can you tell me what your name is? The caller. Caller, what's your name?
Joe.
Joe. Okay, Joe. Where are you calling from?
Montana.
Montana. Okay, just want to know. Go right ahead.
Okay. So that's it's on YouTube. You see it on YouTube or Rumble. You want to know what I? Sure. Hey, Joe. Yeah. Joe. To put that out, just because there's some imam who claims to be an imam, put that out and say that that's a Muslim position. He's not right. Muslims do not advocate the stuff that you talk about. That is not a Muslim position. That's not a position that is based on the Quran. Like I said, it's not based upon the. All right, I understand your position. The Muslims don't want it. I'm just saying that. No, Muslims do not support that. Okay, that's not a Muslim position. Don't put that out there like that. It's not that the Muslim Brotherhood is not a Muslim position. It's not a. You want to listen from a book. Forget it. No, I'm just saying you shouldn't put that out there like that. It's not accurate. I'm trying to tell you where I got the information from. Well, I don't care where you got it from. It's not accurate. You don't want to listen to anything else except your cognitive dissonance. So then you're part of the problem. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about cognitive dissonance, and for you to put out there that Muslims don't want to listen to what we're saying, it's not true. It's all exactly what you're proclaiming you're against. Do you not understand that?
Okay, this is a conversation you all need to have between yourselves because this is not the place for it. We've got 5 minutes. Let's take another call. 706-202. I do believe that is Baba Grand Rising. Baba Kwame Sunhorse. Grand Rising, Baba. How are you? Thank you so much for calling in this morning.
Grand Rising. It was going good. It's just no stuff in the talk. But, it's. I have a saying that you can't expect sick people to do well things. So the discussion was dealing with culture, which historically Julius Nyerere said when he became president of Tanzania, that whosoever educates your children controls your future.
Mm-hmm.
And we've given our children over to an educational system for their destruction.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're looking at is how do we decolonize the colonization of our mind. And right there in Chicago on 55th Street was an excellent mental health institution by Bobby E. Wright, who created the whole concept of mental suicide, because we have been trained to dislike that which is most likely to ourselves. So what we're looking at is how do we save the village? Because it takes a whole village to raise a child. And so it's in that village that we find the tools to help these children. We got to get them off of that techno-spiritual and get them back into divine intelligence.
Mm.
And that's going to be the challenge of being able to stand up against AI with DI, divine intelligence. And that's where the nature comes in. Because this is why you have what's called nature deficit disorder. We've been so put into urbanization, you are banned from nature, that you have disconnected mentally and spiritually almost from the connection of the frequency of Mother Earth. And these are the challenges we have to be able to redirect those energies from that iPad, those iPhones, because what we have now is we've got Wi-Fi crack addicts.
Mm-hmm.
Wi-Fi crack addicts. And so what we're looking at is how do we unplug from this danger. And there is a challenge right now in our community to do what you're doing is to create and say, okay, these children are going to learn to give information about what they see going on and being able to create blog shows and be able to talk about things that they understand that is pertinent to their generation. Frank Fanon says each generation out of relative obscurity must
none but ourselves can free our mind.
Amen. Unplug at least. Begin with an hour a day. Is that feasible? An hour a day. 1 hour a day. I don't think that's too much to ask. People ask me.
No, and it should be a balance in that.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're going to be able, most European schools do not have their children inside classroom. They're outdoors and they create. This is the way they allow. Even in Silicon Valley, they do not put their children on computers. They have them paper and pencil. And during those lessons they learn, because they know the danger of technology to the human mind.
Yes.
Especially children. So this is a position that I've tried to articulate often in discussions that we've had, and that is that we are not applying ourselves in ways that develop things like discipline, patience, consideration for others, and real understanding of human life from a historical perspective. That our view of history is 100 years at the most, and we don't know much about the history of other nations and other civilizations throughout our human existence. And so we have a very shallow, very superficial, very sensation-oriented education process and cultural orientation that keeps us from really applying ourselves in ways that will help us to grow, that will get us closer to our Creator and closer to each other. The idea is God is a lot of our development, and we have to get real and recognize that we've been misled.
And it is 8:58. We are at the end of the show. Lionel, will you be continuing the after show with us? Naima will be joining us, or will you be leaving?
No, I have to get some other work done.
Okay.
I appreciate the opportunity, and I look forward to talking with you guys again soon.
All righty. Thank you so very much. That is the voice of our co-host Lionel Abudl Haqq of Community Cultivation. You can always expect this conversation to be intriguing, thought-provoking, and mindful. So he will join us every first Monday of the month. But right now, we will begin to prepare for the after show. So if you're on the switchboard, you know to press 1 right now if you want to speak. Baba, I'll leave your mic open, but let us close out to hear our greetings in all the languages. So hold on.
Our family in China,
Sheshe.
India, Nangaban,
Nangaban.
Japan, Arigato,
Arigato.
Korea, Kamsamidan,
Kansamidan.
Russia, Spasiba,
Spasiba.
Germany, Danke,
Danke.
Poland, Dziękuję,
Dziękuję.
France, merci,
Merci.
Spain, gracias,
Gracias.
Italy, grazie,
Gracias.
Egypt, shukran,
Shukran.
Ghana, Madasi,
Madasi.
Nigeria, Eshe,
Eshe.
South Africa, Nyabonga,
Nyabunga.
Senegal, Geret,
Jeret.
Kenya, Asante,
Asante.
Israel, Toda,
Toda.
Pakistan, Shukriya,
Shukriya.
Afghanistan, Tashakur,
Tashakur.
Saudi Arabia, Shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you. And may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.
And we are officially in the after show. Thank you so much. Press 1 right now if you're on the switchboard and you want to speak, because otherwise you won't be able to, because the switchboard is going to cut you off. And just want to remind you that if you are a teacher or you have a business or a school, organization, ministry, and you would like to learn the art of podcasting from professional podcasters, check this out, and I'll tell you a little bit more about it in just a second.
I'm Brandon. Hi, I'm Akil. And you're watching the Betty Shabazz podcast training on the Higher Learning Network. Yeah.
As training, and now we also not only offer to children but adults as well. So that's the professional podcast virtual training. Just go to higherlearningnetwork.org, tap on resources, and you'll see the information there on how you too can begin the process of being a podcaster, because this is the time of the year for it. We've been conditioned, we've been trained to spend. So while they are spending, you can be making money. So go to higherlearningnetwork.org /resources, and you will see the information there. And just know that everything is always on my blog on zeldaspeaks.wordpress.com. We will be joined with our executive producer, Naima Latif, who will be joining us shortly. But Baba Kwame Sunhorse, I would like you to continue the conversation this morning on exactly what is it that we can do, because we have been led to the destruction of ourselves, the roots of our destruction. What can we do? Go ahead, Baba Kwame.
Well, number one is defining the word education. Education comes from the Latin word means to inducere. Inducere means to bring out, not to put in. We've been trained, and they've been putting into the minds of our children. I pledge allegiance to the flag, and they've been training the children from pre-K all the way through 12th grade. And the part that we have to understand is we have to decolonize, because there's his story and there's our story. And what is our story? What, like you said about culture, Dr. John Henry Clark says in New Dimensions in African History, he says is that you define a people by land, history, and culture. Land, history, and culture. There's no such place on the planet called Black land. I'm sure that's fine. You know, we're given names that they have called Black. That means white is better than black. So we've got to redefine how we are what's put into our minds of our children, and being able to give them an identity of the greatness that was born in them, because every person that comes on this planet comes as a purpose.
Amen.
It's a purpose. Everyone comes on the planet with a purpose. The part of it is giving them the tools to bring out what's in them that was born with them, and see what it is that they come to construct on this planet.
Amen. Because we were all born with a natural gift, talent, and ability, but they sent our children to these schools to beat it out of them.
We send our children. See, that's the part. We're looking at it saying, oh, we got to send our... No. Go to school and get educated. No, go to school to...
And be programmed.
To your children so they can be knowledgeable of what they can create and be their own boss. See, we've had this whole concept, we need to go get an education so we can get a job and do... No. Why not make a job? Why not create a business? We've created this country's wealth by agriculture and labor. Agriculture and labor.
And it's still going on today. And that's one of the things. Remember the movie, the Netflix movie, the special, I should say, High on the Hog. And I didn't want to see it because I thought it was another food movie. And I want to thank you personally for telling me that I need to show that, because it so much of our history is entwined in the culture of our food. And the food was a great way to bring that home, because my first idea was, I don't want to see another food show. But our history, the culture of our people, it is so entwined in there. You have got to see the Netflix special, High on the Hog. So thank you, Baba Kwame.
And the part of that was that something that's been always said in our circles is kitchen table university. Where did we get our first lessons in doing things was at our mother's kitchen table, our grandmother's kitchen table. These are the spaces that the women gathered and prepared food and discussed business. These are the spaces in which they sat down and gave you lessons about life. And so when you feed the body, you got to also feed the mind. And the thing that we have to do is learn how to balance that. Because when you leave that kitchen table and walk out that door, it used to be once upon a time when a child walked outside the door and the parent and the adult seen it and they said, "Who is your parent?" They didn't ask you what was your name. They want to know who you represent.
Yes.
And we have gotten away from that.
Yes.
Because they have a whole identity of pronouns, adjectives, and adverbs, and
He, she, him, her, they, them. Really?
Right. So the part of it is that the thing I look at it and say, when the sun shines, everybody casts the same color shadow.
All right. There's a little food for thought for you. 515-605-9325. Press 1 to speak. I want to know what you think. You know what I think. I need to know what you think because Baba Kwame has clearly spelled it out. We are in control, and we cannot continue to allow those who think they're in control, and we give them the permission to think that they're in control. And we're about to be joined by our executive producer, Naima Latif of the Female Solution. And as I bring her on, excuse me, 515-605-9325, press 1 to speak. Before we bring her on, I'm going to take another call, and that is 312-221-8362. Turn your radio down. 312-221. Okay, we'll come back to you as we bring to the after show with our executive producer, and that would be Naima Latif with her big blue beautiful crown on this morning. I love it, sis. Oh, I love that. Looks like you're headed out this morning.
Well, yes, that's always the case. First, I want to greet our listeners and viewers, and callers, all of those who added to this conversation. And it was mentioned about the fire at the Swift Mansion. Our media group, On Air Daily News, we've done some investigative reporting, and it's on our daily news channel. It'll also be on our daily radio show, On Air Daily News on Blog Talk Radio, and you can access it on our website.
Baba Kwame said we have a bad connection.
Yes, you know what I'm going to have to do? I'm going to hang up my phone, which was connected to the switchboard, and make sure that's not the source of our feedback. And then we want to make sure anybody who's not speaking, their mic is closed, so we're not getting feedback from them.
We got a little static here. Yeah. Okay, you could talk now.
Okay. Very good. Much better.
Vienna Robinson, it seems like all religion should be replaced with more spiritual teachings. You got that right. That's for sure. Because religion is designed to control the mind. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, it is. And I'm going to address a couple of things about that before I get into our investigative report on this fire.
It's going to be a very explosive situation. And we had some exclusive interviews. Our On Air Daily News crew was out there. And it's more than meets the eye. And it's connected to a lot of different issues. First, I just wanted to give a perspective of what we're observing and experiencing in our lives as individuals and as a collective. There are two kinds of people on the planet right now. They are the spiritually aware and the spiritually unaware. The spiritually aware realize that we're all connected, and what is suffering for one is suffering for all. So they desire for the well-being of all. And that's the level of their spiritual evolution. The spiritually unaware are the people who are newer souls that have not developed an understanding about that. So their motivation is selfishness, greed, fear, all the lower vibration emotions that make them insensitive to other people's suffering, and even being willing to cause suffering for the sake of a profit, making money, controlling people. So you have those two forces, you have those two states of consciousness expressing themselves on the planet. So what we're seeing is not a matter of one racial group over another, or a religion over another, or a gender over another. It's each individual soul in their own state of evolution in their consciousness. Are they aware that we are all connected, all one body, all an expression of the divine energy of creation? Or are they seeing themselves as separate and living in fear and trying to take what others have because they don't believe there's enough, and insensitive to others' suffering, so they're willing to create suffering so that they can make sure they have more than others? The two states of consciousness. And you find those states of consciousness in every group. So one group cannot say, well, this group is the bad group and we're the good group, or these people are evil and we're angels. You find mixtures of it in all groups. Our challenge is to transcend the physical structure we're in and be able to identify those of like mind and spirit so that we can strengthen each other in this struggle to create a new earth based on the higher consciousness of existence. That's our challenge, because we have been programmed throughout our lives to fear or hate others that appear to be different, and we do it to our detriment. So the steps that we've been taking to empower young people, first of all, to use the technology that exists and is ever expanding to reach a global audience, signifies what the future will look like. In the future, there will be no separation. When you can talk to someone overseas, whether it be in Israel or Istanbul or Liberia or Ghana or China, whether you can talk to anybody in the world, then no one can brainwash you about what's happening and why, because you can connect with people who understand clearly what the best thing to do is for the collective human body. So we're preparing our students to be those voices of reason and intelligence. And, you know, we talked about the detriment of technology. Well, anything is either a tool or a weapon, depending on the mind of the hand who's holding it. You can have a hammer and it can hammer in nails and build buildings. You can have a hammer and crack someone's skull with it. What is your state of mind? That's that determines how you use the object, because the object itself is neutral. The technology that we have is a great opportunity for us to have a connection to the global family and to remove any misunderstanding. It's also a weapon used against us if we're not aware, to program us to, as your co-host said during the show, to buy things we don't need, to spend monies in ways that are self-destructive, to hate ourselves because we hate our image as it's portrayed on the screen. So if we're not aware that the technology we use is being weaponized to program us for self-destruction, then we fall into the self-destruction. But if we're aware of the power of it and the possibilities of it, then we use that technology as a tool to create and to build and to repair. That's what we're teaching the students at Betty Shabazz International Charter School, because they have a very powerful program that focuses on the unity and the family and the community and pride in one's heritage and respect for oneself, one's elders. And the pledge that they say every day reinforces that thought, that idea. And we've seen so many magnificent students coming out of that school doing great things throughout the world. So we know it works. The programming in the positive works. We also see what's happening in the public school system, where they have to have police cars stationed at the doors at dismissal because students might come out and start fighting with guns or knives or beating each other up because of the mindset that's been conditioned. We have the power to change things. We have the power to teach. We have the power to prepare our young people to create. So we should not approach this in fear, and we should not give more power to the unconscious than they have, because they have no power other than that which we give them. So we have to choose not to give it to them, and instead focus on what our goal is. What is our vision for the world in the future? We can create it if we're willing to do the work. So of course, with that, I want to talk about what's happening and what could have precipitated the fire at the Swift Mansion. And again, On Air Daily News crew was there to cover it and talk to the residents. And I thought, because I've been over there several times, delivering, food during the pandemic. Our mosque, which is, right down the street, was doing food giveaways, food drives, all the support for people during the pandemic. And I thought it was a homeless shelter, for the unhoused. And the people living there were, on some kind of charitable program. I'd spoken to the owner, and we were delivering bags of food there. Well, we found out from our investigation, these people are not living there free. They're paying rent. Whatever monies they get with the Social Security, SSI, or loan paying part-time job, whatever it is, they pay rent. And they were paying $400 a month. And that means they're responsible for their own meals.
I did not know that.
Yes, I did not know that either. And there were 9 residents there at the time of the fire. But the residents were being pressured to leave, to move out. And they later found that it was as a result of the owners receiving a contract to house migrants.
The owners were receiving threats, did you say?
No, the owners received a contract to house migrants.
Oh, the owners received a contract to house migrants.
Which would have paid them more than the $400 per person they were receiving.
Oh.
So, and we sent this story out on our On Air Daily News. We've sent this out this morning because we want people to analyze what happens when people's greed overrides their compassion. And what the owners apparently wanted to do was to build more rooms to house more of the immigrants who would be placed there.
Oh my goodness.
And they were forcibly trying to evict their current tenants.
Is that on onaireverywhere.com? There's John.
Yes. And I'm going to read to you a press release that was about to go out because the residents were filing a lawsuit. And on air everywhere, well, yes, and on our On Air Daily News, we have reported this, but we also are going to play some of the audio of the interviews on our On Air Daily News radio show, half hour every day at 1 o'clock. And it points to the ethics of, pardon me, it points to the ethics of people in choosing dollars over dignity, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
The fact that the incentive to remove the residents was made because of the dollars that are being spent per person on the migrant, created that situation. I'm going to read exactly what Selena Kyle, who has been assisting the residents there since they were being pressured to be evicted. And the owner, Maurice Perkins, is the original owner, and Marcus Perkins is his son, the one who was organizing to rehab the property and add more rooms so that they could house the migrants. So now this is a timeline of sequences that she sent to us at On Air.
Where's that on the site, Naima?
We are, it's actually on our On Air Daily News.com.
Okay.
I haven't finished adding some of the new information that we just got, but
okay.
An hour after the show, I'll be able to send that out as well. So I'll read you what we have. She said the tenants did not start that fire. They were looking forward to having justice served in court, as well as needing a place to stay until they could secure affordable housing. They would gain nothing from starting the fire. Also, why would Marcus Perkins allow an investor / ex-felon to misrepresent himself on a multiple news outlet as the owner and son of Maurice Perkins, the original owner? James Otis is not the owner's son, but an ex-convict who gave Perkins all an ill-gotten $30,000 3 years ago to the cash-strapped owners in exchange for a share in the business. So it's kind of a deep thing going on. She said, here's a timeline of events for the 9 tenants who have resided at the Swift Mansion, 4500 South Michigan Avenue, for a period ranging from 5 years to 6 months. Again, these are rent-paying tenants. November 1st, rent was paid by most tenants, although some were late. Number 6, Marcus Perkins, who's the son of Maurice Perkins, the owner, informed tenants about the plan to house migrants and start demolition on the 2nd floor. Tenants were told they could move to the basement temporarily if they had nowhere else to go, but would have to leave. November 20th, tenants sought advice from an advocate who informed them they hadn't received proper written notice and couldn't be evicted in that manner. November 29th, some of the tenants filed a lawsuit against Maurice Perkins, Marcus Perkins, and Heather Perkins, and Inner City Youth and Adult Foundation for deplorable living conditions and illegal eviction.
Wow.
November 30th, tenants called 311 and the police after Marcus Perkins, and tenants called 311 and the police after Marcus Perkins nailed the front door shut, changed the locks, and shut off water. Police intervened, suggesting relocation, but Marcus Perkins later refused to assist with housing costs. December 1st, Marcus Perkins shut off the water again, received a citation for building conditions from the police, and was advised to handle the matter in court. December 2nd, Marcus Perkins threatened to have the building condemned before paying tenants any money related to the illegal eviction. December 3rd, Marcus Perkins confronted a tenant involved in the lawsuit, reiterating the threat to condemn the building. Later that day, the building caught fire with Marcus Perkins and James Otis seen leaving the second floor. Residents were in the basement at the time of the fire. December 4th, the building is visibly condemned due to the fire. This timeline outlines the sequence of events leading to the building's condemnation. There are pictures and video of the building condition right before the fire. Now, of course, we've got photos, and again, onairdailynews.com, and it will also give you the link to our site with the videos as well, and the radio broadcast with the interviews, and the interviewees, requested to remain anonymous, but they were willing to give us quite a bit of information. And the residents there were four Hispanics, and one of them female, and 5 Black males. Though that's the makeup of the paying residents at the Swift Mansion. So now you know the backstory. Now the question about the fire, because our anonymous residential source said that the son, Maurice Perkins, was upstairs in the building when at the time when the fire started. There were 4 residents in the basement at the time of the fire. The fire started from the top. Now, there's one of 2 things that could have happened. Either the fire was started purposely, or the fire may have been caused by some faulty electrical wiring, because it's also under investigation. We discovered that the construction that was being done, there was no permit for it, and local people were being used, which means they could have done a poor job, and that could have created an electrical fire. So it's one of 2 things that happened that caused that fire, and arson investigators were on the scene looking to determine what was the cause of the fire, and they know how to look for where fire started, what caused it, and if there are any accelerants that were added to the fire, so they'll know if there was arson. It's a sad thing that this happened. It's sad that what was supposed to have been a good program turned into something ugly. And I would say it appears greed was involved. And this makes people make decisions that are hurtful. But of course, we on our news site, we've published the press release that was to go out before the fire started, listing all of the uninhabitable conditions in the building before the fire started. That was what the lawsuit was about. And it was as if the owner was trying to force them out so they could bring in those new people. So we're very disappointed. But my concern is that how many other property owners are doing things maybe to existing tenants that might be having difficulties, trying to remove them from the premises in favor of a contract to house migrants that will pay them more than they've been receiving. So this whole migrant situation has created a lot of ugly outcomes. And we need to do something different. Yes, these people have come. It's a bad situation where they live. Chicago agreed to be a sanctuary city. suddenly people were just dumped onto the cities, and it appears to be a scheme to make the mayor fail, because what could he possibly do in coming into office, and this was already in motion, and there was no federal help, and yet he's supposed to just, make everything be all right. And so people don't know where to target their anger. What do we always do? Well, we target it at the person in charge. Well, we chose that person. So let's take responsibility and realize that the way we usually handle things, we're going to march, we're going to protest. No, that's not the way. We're going to work this out together and understand the underlying things happening, understand the global politics that created this condition, decisions being made in other houses of government, the drug trafficking that made Venezuela so hostile and dangerous to live, the reason why people fled. And why is the drug trade such a popular business that they can't get rid of it? It's the same thing. People being willing to profit from other people's pain. People take drugs because they can't cope with the emotional conditions in their lives. So rather than us help them heal, we create a business out of it. And that's why we can't get rid of the drugs. That's why we can't get rid of the guns. People who sell and manufacture guns, they know that somebody can come into a classroom and shoot up a classroom of 6-year-olds. They don't care. They simply want to make money, no matter how destructive it is. And that's the unevolved souls making those decisions. So the higher evolved souls, the ones that care about the collective welfare and well-being, we have to take charge. We have to be the dominant force in the societies where we live. That's our responsibility. And we can do this, but we have to see beyond the artificial separations of color, race, economic class. Look at the soul of a person. The ones that are seeing life in a way that shows compassion. That's your brother and sister that you can work with, that can strengthen you to change the dynamics that's happening on the planet. We have the responsibility to do that. That's what it's all about.
And the question is, will we do it? Will we step up to the plate?
Yes. Will we step up to the plate?
And how do we step up to the plate? That's the question.
Yes, absolutely. That's the question. So onairdailynews.com, we daily we give news. And this one was one that we were able to get an exclusive on simply because, shout out to my partner, John Alexander. They're the photographer, the reporter, and all of that. And we actually have been able to see the deeper meaning behind the whole thing, which is the greed, unfortunately, based on the fact that the people who were there deserve to have a decent living space, and it was not provided for them. And yet there were, attempts to prepare the place for migrants to get the money, and how diligent were the owners in making sure that the building was safe and up to code. So what really started that fire? We're going to find out. And let me see if I can. I think we do have.
Say that again.
We do have a picture, of course, of the building as it was burned. I'm gonna look and see if, because I know we're gonna add some more. We've got.
I am bringing up. Everything will be posted on my blog, zeldaspeaks.wordpress.com, because when I went to on air, I had a few difficulties there, so I just posted it all on my blog. But that's onairdailynews.com.
Yes, onairdailynews.com.
And you scroll down, you'll see it.
Yeah, and one of the things that I'm concerned about is that people begin to have backlash at the migrants. They're in this whole scheme of things. They're just as much as a recipient of bad decisions by others as everybody else. They're not trying to come here and take our jobs or destabilize our neighborhoods. They're basically families in distress, and we need to see them as they are and not see anybody as enemies. Once we get to the process where we're being played against each other, then we can't see the real picture. And we'll get to that later.
Okay, so they can just go to onair.dailynews.
After the show, I'll be able to kind of stop in the middle of uploading some more.
Deborah Smith says, Lord. Yeah, we got to call on somebody with all this chaos going on in the world. Well, we want to thank you all for participating this morning and for your contributions, whether it's online or in the internet, on the mail, it doesn't matter. But we want to thank you, and we invite you to join us tomorrow morning, December 5th, for the debut of Shopping with Zoe.
Yes.
So be sure and tune in. And also remember to go to the website, higherlearningnetwork.org, if you are interested in promoting your church, club, business, ministry, or what have you, for the professional podcast training by myself and Naima Latif. Go to higherlearningnetwork.org and click on resources. Final word, Naima.
Choose the higher road. There are going to be attempts to keep you in fear and anger and hate. Choose to see beyond the manipulation. Choose to make decisions that are helpful for yourself and your family. Choose to define what your life means. Don't waste time being angry or fearful at what other people are trying to do, because you only have the power that you give them with your attention. You have the power to shape your own opinions, and you have the power to influence the lives of your children. What you will allow to come into your house is your choice. If you know that the programming coming from the television is not helpful, choose to turn it off. You have the power.
Because if it's not giving you what you need, why are you watching it?
Absolutely.
So ask yourself that question and share that with everyone, because that's how we take back our dysfunction on this planet. Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you back here tomorrow with Zoe, Shopping with Zoe, right here on The Female Solution. Until then, be sure and share this show with someone. You'll be glad you did. And we'll see you back here tomorrow morning. We'll do it all over again. Thanks for watching and sharing. We love you on Windy City Live. Yes, we do. Tell us, how did all this happen? How did this come about?
Well, I play me. I play Val Warner in Chirac, which is really cool. So when people see this movie, they are literally seeing Val, and I am a reporter in the movie.
We talk about the violence, but what can we do personally?
I think we got to be engaged, and I think engaged in a number of things. In our block, in our home, in our neighborhood, we got to be engaged. We got to fight the issues. We got to fight a government that is abandoned, whole communities on the south and the west side. We got to fight a governor who's cut out every youth employment program, who's cut out violence prevention programs, who's abandoned our communities and the poor and the vulnerable. And I think we got to reach out to our brothers on the street and love them and respect them and help them, not just demonize them.
the opportunity. I'll just say like this. First of all, give you the history of coming to Chicago and telling my jokes as a young cat. I'm 37 now. I started about almost 15 years ago. Elroy taking me under his wing, letting me do some jokes here and there for the radio stations and all that kind of stuff.
I learned that no matter what you do and how much of a genuine heart you have, and if you're coming from a good place, people are going to criticize if they don't agree with what you're doing.
Yo, what's up? It's your man Tony Schofield from 106.3 Chicago's R&B, and you are watching Men on Higher Learning. Now, I used to hang around with some men that was into some higher learning. It just wasn't that kind of higher learning, but I got myself together now, okay?
What is it that you do in your quiet time, in your meditation time, that allows you to bring us the films that you do?
I sit courtside in Madison Square Garden, world's most famous arena.
And you're watching ZTV on the Higher Learning Network.
Are you stressed out? Are you ready to learn some quick techniques on how to de-stress immediately? Then book your free 30-minute consultation with Zelda Speaks, the Mindfulness Stress Relief Coach, at higherlearningnetwork.org. Thanks for sharing. Grand Rising, and thank you so much for joining me. I'm your host, Zelda Speaks, the stressologist. Any stress in your life? Well, most of us do. Unfortunately, we don't know what to do with that stress, especially as it relates to worry. I was once a worried about everything, and I finally figured it out with some training. Yeah, I've been certified with the American Society of Training and Development, National Speakers Association, and a host of others. But none of those organizations helped me stop worrying. They just gave me validation for the public to see what credentials I have. So the credentials I have now are from life experience, and I've learned how not to worry. And you can learn how not to worry too, because it is indoctrinated in us to worry. We don't have the answers, so we think the worst is going to happen. Well, I got a solution to that. And that is the Worry Workshop. So I'm going to pull that up for you on my blog. Why do you worry when you don't have to? Go to my blog, zeldaspeaks.wordpress.com, and you can sign up right there and find out how you. And remember, sharing is caring. If you care about yourself and your loved ones, help them see their way out of a mess. Give them the gift. It makes a great birthday gift. It makes a great holiday gift. So instead of running to the store getting something that they really might not need, give them a worry-free life. Give them the gift of a worry-free existence. And thanks for sharing. Make it a great day.
And you're watching ZTV on the Higher Learning Network.
Hi, I'm Brandon. Hi, I'm Akil. And you're watching the Betty Shabazz podcast training on the Higher Learning Network. Yeah.
Hey there, talented teens. Are you ready to showcase your skills and potentially win cash prizes and scholarships? We're excited to announce our global virtual teen talent contest, where you can enter by submitting a 1-minute video of your unique talent. Here's how to participate. 1. Record a 1-minute video of yourself performing your talent. 2. Share the video on TikTok. Include the hashtag Global Virtual Teen Talent Contest. 3. Tag 3 friends who also have amazing talents. Submit your video by the deadline. We can't wait to see all of the amazing talents that you have to offer. Remember to be creative and have fun with it. The top talents will be selected by a panel of judges and will be announced shortly after. So don't wait, start filming, and good luck!